So why is it important to remove honeycombs and brood combs from a building when you've got a bee problem? So some of the things to think about here is if you stop access to bees from getting to brood combs or honeycombs, there could be substantial amount of honeycomb in a building, and if it's not being maintained, they melt, especially if it's in a chimney, in brickwork where it might get hot. What can happen is the honey can slump down onto a ceiling or a wall, and that can melt down into the interior of the property, which isn't ideal. Now when you come to the brood combs, which is like the larval stage, the eggs in the brood, if you leave that can actually start to smell because it's the larvae and the proteins there that can cause an issue. So one of the biggest reasons you want to look into removing honeycomb and brood comb from a building is because it's going to attract other honeybees into the same location. Even if they can't get back into that area, they will smell it's there and they'll recolonise a metre over to the right, 2 metres over to the left, and that's really important to remove as much as possible. Even with a full live comb and bee removal, there is still a very small residue left, which can be covered when it's done the right way and the right preventative measures have been put in place. But if you leave all of the comb, brood comb and honeycomb, there's just too much there and they'll smell that and they'll want to recolonise. Now the other reason, which we haven't discussed yet, is the disease risks. So if you leave comb, especially brood comb, in a building, they can have diseases which can be detrimental to other live bee colonies, both wild and beekeepered, and that can be a contamination source for disease for other healthy bees. So when that bee problem is not properly removed because the combs are left, then those bees will steal the honey and the stores and they'll walk all over the combs, and they will then fly back to their hives and contaminate those. So removing the combs, both brood combs and honeycombs, from a bee colonised area is a really important thing to do.